Anyway, now we're going to talk about insurance. We've got an insurance expert here, Edgar Raidu, my good friend. Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to know the New Year. Yeah, nice one.
You did?
Yes, of course. I mean,
that we're only 3 days into the New Year.
Unfortunately, the day-to-day challenges and all that, so simply just forgotten. Happy New Year, my dear.
Okay, so earlier we were talking about the directive to ministries, departments, and agencies to insure with state-owned insurance companies. Well, Edgar is here to take us through it. Would it really be suicidal if the private insurance companies do not do business with ministries, departments, and agencies? So, Edgar, would it be suicidal for them, for the private companies? Would they collapse?
Oh, not necessarily, but basically I think I personally do not understand this whole concept, where it came from, and then how the president was advised for this directive, to really come out. Because I believe that anyone who understands what goes on in insurance would not have actually mooted this whole idea. Within the insurance industry itself, we are confronted with a lot of challenges in terms of capacity to maintain businesses in this country. And at a point in time that I thought we were going to really look at how we could build that kind of capacity, we're going on some, frivolous issues like the government businesses must go to SIC and all that. In the first place, SIC itself is private. So
it's a 40% stake for government, right?
Yes, but the 60% is for the public. Yeah. So I mean, why
so
that?
It's not for the state.
It's not for the state. So why that? So basically, I think that, as I said, the whole idea, I don't get it. Very, very bad directive that was issued, and to that extent, the concept of private sector would now have some kind of developmental problems. Let me give you a case in question. Like, no matter the line of business someone decides to take, there's a certain level of retention that you can always have. Beyond that retention, you have to seed it. So let's say you have a property worth $1 million you want to insure. The insurance company decides that, look, my retention level is 100,000, which means the remaining 900,000 you got to reinsure.
Yeah.
If you cannot accept it within the local system, then it means you're going to send it outside the country. And in sending outside the country, what are we doing? It means capital flight. We're sending money outside the country.
Yeah.
We got a good business, almost $24 million. The whole industry's capacity could not accept it. They could not even accept $500,000. So it means that the remaining $23 million had to go outside the country.
Wow.
I mean, these are issues that we should rather be, concentrating. This is the whole industry that is out of the 20-something general, insurance companies. So assuming this were a government business, and you said you should go to SIC, probably SIC could not even take 10,000. So the remaining would have to go out. In this case, as I said, the whole industry would just take about 500,000. So if it was only SIC could just take 10,000. So you're talking about $23,990,000 getting outside the country. And for me, as I always say, that if the people who advise the president really understand what goes on in insurance, this matter will not have, come up.
So is it safe to say that, this particular directive is similar to cutting your nose to spite your face?
Well, in the first place, I must say that, yes, a few checks that I did at the presidency indicates that directive has been reversed.
Oh, okay.
It has been reversed. And I want to believe that probably this time the president got good people to advise him. And to that extent realized that it was something very, very bad that came up.
Okay, but did you think that the arguments that the private insurance companies put out were, legitimate to win?
No. You know what happens?
They need to be innovative.
Yes, not necessarily. You see, what happens is that no one would want to lose a business. All right. Yeah. So even if you have one business in your book, you still want to maintain
That's
that.
right,
Good. And you know, you are dealing with numbers here. That is a little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. If you continue to get a business, what happens? Your base becomes stronger, your income grows, and that. So with such a directive, if somebody is screaming, then he believes that maybe one or two lines of businesses that he's got is going to leave him.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that the companies are going to collapse, but you want to protect what you really have. And when you're looking at things from this way, as I said, there is this thing. You know, we have what we call, when you work to do insurance in an insurance company, your business, your policy is handed over to you. So far as you're concerned, you have insurance. As to what goes on behind the scenes, you don't have an idea. Mm-hmm. That is where the facultative businesses comes in, because like one particular line of business, depending on the sort of reinsurance arrangement you have, you can have it on the facultative basis, and then in that case, maybe 3 or 4, 5, 6 companies will share. Okay, because maybe your level you can take just about 10% of the business. Somebody can take 2%, somebody can take 3%. You share it out. Then you go to, let's say, Ghana Reinsurance, right? You can go to Mainstream, they can also take a portion. And even with what they have taken, they can also reinsure. Right. So it means now we are getting into the realm of the retrocessionaries. You know, it can go on and on and on. So everyone takes a bit small of it. So as I said, assuming even if this directive were to hold, certainly the monies will not be in SIC, or the premiums will be in SIC. You can decide to go and insure with SIC, all right? SIC can just get up and say that, look, I think this business is too huge for me. So he can decide to reinsure the whole 100%.
Yeah.
You get it? And probably take some administrative charges for that particular job. So the premium that you think is going to go there will not even be there.
Yeah.
You understand? So for me, as I said, when I heard it, it was a little bit funny. I didn't really get it. And I thought that, yes, the whole idea was, I want to believe that the way people were speaking was probably trying to say that, look, don't kill the private sector. I think that is the angle they wanted to come up with, but not necessarily that it was going to collapse the business of, because there are some companies that do not even have a single government business.
But they're surviving.
They're surviving, so it's not too much of a big deal. But I think the general concept, because one of the things that we're looking at too is that if such, funny monopoly it's in place, it does not help the private sector grow. There are quite a lot of people who want to actually come into the system, and for some of us, we think the commission has even delayed in allowing them to come, because if they do come...
We need more?
Yes.
For competition?
Not necessarily competition, because my problem is, you see, at the end of the year, the millions of dollars that leaves the shores of this country by way of reinsuring, risk, is just too heavy. So if at the end of the year you say probably $70 million are to leave Ghana for reinsurance businesses outside, if we have that capacity, that $70 million a year, you can borrow from it. The private sector is the investment, what have you. And it all adds to our GDP and what have you. But now, if we have to carry all this amount outside, then what are we doing to the economy? You see? So that is the area that I think that we should be looking at, encouraging them to be there. Because as I said, so many people want to be in. But for some funny reasons, the commission is not, giving them the license. Maybe they are not meeting one or two things. But then they are bringing in capital. Now, as the capital flows, for instance, this $24 million that people came to pay, right? If they were also there, it would have absorbed it. And it would have all been in this country. And then probably, what we do, we normally do treasury bill investments and what have you. The same government could even borrow from it. You understand? And then the issue of the strength of our CD would also be, stable, right? Because you have enough dollars in the system. Right. But if the little we get, we always throwing it outside. And what are we doing to ourselves?
Okay. What are your expectations of the insurance industry this year?
Well, the economy has not fared too good, the previous year, right? And as a result of that, the protection that people need, even though they do realize they need to already, they've had difficulties in their meeting their responsibilities by taking up their policies, paying their premiums and all that. we expect that things should move on well. After all, we've gone through the budget for 2014. It looks somehow 50-50. If it works well, certainly the industry also play its part, you know. And one of the problems that I know we're going to have very soon is FPSO, right?
Yeah.
FPSO. I'm not too sure. I've just read some documents somewhere. I'm not too sure whether it's a new one that is coming or it's an old one that we're renewing. I felt a little bad when I saw that thing because that one too, we are retaining only 5%. Is it millions of dollars is being paid by way of premium, and we are retaining just 5% of that. Yeah, very sad. So, in terms of the expectations for the industry, yes, I mean, these are some of the few problems that it's so unfortunate that it's hit us just at the beginning of the year. But as I said, if the National Insurance Commission is supposed to evaluate all the proposals that lie before them, and we get a few ones coming in with the investments that are required, then automatically what it simply means is that in totality our capacity is going to be boosted. So if it is boosted in that direction, we're going to rake in some more. That is some of the things that I want to see.
There have been talks that there is corruption in the insurance industry. I don't know how. I'm even going to inquire further just to see, is there any way? Is it possible? I mean, because it's very systematic. It's very,
You look shocked.
Above.
Yeah,
above board.
I'm really, I mean,
taken aback.
Exactly. What sort of corruption are you talking here?
We're just trying to find out. I mean, this.
Well, you're Mexican as well. You should be able to say that. I mean,
corruption is rife in every sector.
No, I'm saying, what sort of corruption are you talking about?
Maybe the reinsurance of policies abroad. Maybe
that is not corruption. Not at all. It's not corruption. I mean, what I'm saying is this. You see, you have your strength. You know, it's like you say, I can pay for only this. This is what my reserves are. Okay? As I stand today, I know what my reserves are. So anything beyond my reserves, I cannot pay. Right? So what happens? I pass the risk on. That is a normal, that is reinsurance.
No, he didn't say that was a corruption.
Yeah.
He's saying there's been talk that there is corruption in the insurance industry. So we just want to find out how corruption can actually pertain in the...
honestly, no. Unless you want to suggest that probably maybe in the area of maybe claims processing, then something fishy goes on. Then, of course,
is it possible for
no. Then you can be educated on that, because one of the funny things is people have a certain notion that claims actually is one area that the insurance companies themselves are very cautious of, because they know people can make fraudulent claims. Right. So they are very, very cautious, and they got to make sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. Very clear. But if you're talking about corruption, then honestly, I mean, I'm taking it back. I don't know what sort of corruption you're looking at.
So actually, there's one industry that could be corruption-free within our country.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Well, honestly, because the structures and the systems, right? If you say no, it's not possible.
Impossible.
It's impossible.
All
I
right.
don't know what kind of
Thank you very much, Edgar Redu. He's an insurance expert. Given the insurance industry a clean bill of health, they can't be corrupt.
They're not. Yes, don't ever entertain any such, statements.
We are not entertaining it.
Yes, if you want to talk about something else, as I said, if it's a matter to do with maybe people don't understand how claims are made and one or two
that's very important. I think we need to bring you back.
That is what we
because I know of a
explain
gentleman who's been, haggling over his claims with an insurance company for over 2 years.
Well, maybe we'll discuss that at an appropriate time.
Exactly. Thank you very much for your time, Edgar.
Thank you.